Starbucks has around 32,000 stores around the world, yet it failed to make a mark here in Australia. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Monish, and for those who don't know me, I'm a qualified chartered accountant / idiot who, after doing one of the hardest courses there is, realized that his passion lies in writing and making these videos. So let me take this opportunity to ask you to like and subscribe and fuel my idiotic passion. So today we're going to speak about why Starbucks failed here in Australia. So to make this video, Pri and I visited a local Starbucks, a cafe that was around a minute or two away from Starbucks, and a suburban cafe to try and explain what is it that Starbucks lacks and why it actually failed here in Australia. I would also like to add that this video is unbiased and it isn't sponsored by any of the cafes that I have visited. Firstly, a few facts. Starbucks has around 32,000 stores around the world, and it has 87,000 drink combinations. Yet it failed to make a mark here in Australia. And one of the main factors for that is that it overlooked one of the key factors in business, that is to analyze the culture in a particular market. And if there's anything that I've learned over the last 15 years living here in Australia, is that just like beer, Australians love their cafes. There are also local rivalries like Sydney versus Melbourne. And being from Melbourne, let me assure you, Melbourne has better coffee. Now coming back to Starbucks. Starbucks places itself as a premium coffee retailer, and even the coffees are priced at a premium. And in many Asian cultures, Starbucks has branded itself very well, and for a lot of people, it is a matter of pride to have coffee from Starbucks, saying that, hey, I drink, premium coffee. But Aussies, as you know, are really laid back, and showing off your wealth in any manner is the fastest and the easiest way to earn instant dickhead status. Now, let's head to Starbucks and see what the coffee was like. Like you can see, Aussie favorites like eggs on avocado and toast is not on the menu. Instead, there are a lot of sweets and, much to my dismay, a lot of plastic. The cafe, I must say, was very modern and very well laid out. Yeah. Let's have a go. It's definitely nice, but the coffee is not as rich, I find. I find the milk to be not as foamy, you could say, and it's sweet because of the sprinkles of chocolate on the top, and that's the more dominating flavor than the taste of the coffee. So yeah, and another thing I found is, obviously we had to go and pick up our food, and there was no, even though we are eating in, we have plastic forks and spoons, which if you go to any cafe here in Melbourne, you won't find that. You've got cheese, which you have to put on by yourself, which again is like a strict no-no here in Australia. And they charge just as much as any other cafe would. This was the bagels and cheese, and coffee was $9 something, and the service isn't there. So why would locals come here and eat and spread their own cream cheese, which they know is a very mass-produced brand again, which is Philadelphia. Not that it's bad, it's really good, but it's for bagels when you eat at home. You just put it on and it tastes really good. But if you go to a cafe, it will be spread for you, metal spoons, nice plate. This was, all you have to is cheese. And as you always say, there can never be enough cheese. They always add more cheese, right? So let's put a bit more. More cheese? Yeah. Always more cheese. Always more cheese. Again, the bagel's really dry, and the cheese is delicious. But yeah, it's not worth $9. Like,
what would you rate it out of 10?
6, probably 6. We then headed to Axil, which is in the same shopping center, and tried and ordered something similar. I didn't get the bagel, but I did manage to get the same almond cappuccino which I had in Starbucks. Thank you.
You get to go and tell us, what do you think of the coffee?
So straight away again, the flavor of the coffee overpowers the chocolate. The milk is really creamy and thick. Obviously adds to the quality and the feel of drinking coffee. Yeah, it's just really good. Just a very good flavor of coffee. The subtle flavor of chocolate on it. And a really well-made coffee. And you would pay $4.50 for this coffee any day. Definitely, I'd come back here. If I'm around and I love coffee like you do, I would surely pay the $4.50 and sit down and have a coffee here. But another thing is, we just look at the place, really nice ambience, very busy, got good energy to it, and good service, and that just adds to the experience of your coffee and your food. As compared to Starbucks where you had plastic cutlery and you had food not given to you on glass plate. Again, really good flavor. The avocado is so fresh. The produce is so good. The varieties, it's not mass produced. It's made from some local place over here, which probably if you read the menu, you would know where it's from. The lime, nice, really thick piece of lime, which I did squeeze on the toast. So yeah, just all in all, a really good experience, really good food. If you wanted something light, you just come here, have your avocado toast, have your coffee, have a chat with a friend, and go shop. Surely, coffee and food, definitely 9 on 10. And so is the service, right? You can't fault it. Even say 9.5 on 10, just really good. Completely worth the experience spending that almost $10, $12, that range when you come in and have a seat, have your food. Yeah, it's a really good experience. Now let's hear what the manager at Axil has to say about the coffee culture here in Australia.
Hey man, how are you?
Good man. So firstly, thank you so much for doing this for us, man. Like, I know you guys are really busy here, but taking some time and doing this is I'm really grateful to you.
That's okay, no worries.
Anyways, the main thing I want to know from you is how is the cafe culture here in Australia?
Cafe culture, well, coffee, food, cafe, it's just a big part of Australian life. Everyone here loves their food, loves to get out and get into shopping centres, into local cafes and mix with the people and see the food. COVID was terrible, as you can imagine, for the hospitality industry. So a lot of people definitely got hit by that, but hopefully we can get back into normality now and get back into coffee, breakfast, avocados, all that stuff. It's a huge part of Australia.
Huge part of culture, And do you find that people like the taste here is very niche. Like people have their avocados. They like variety in food. It's not that they want to go to a place and just have a fixed menu, day in, day out, the same thing.
Definitely, definitely. So definitely from the coffee standpoint, so I can speak from Axil, that's where we work. We generate beans from around the world, and I was just thinking like little changes in the beans, where it's the temperature or the amount of grams in the grind, or little changes here and there can make a big difference in the taste that comes out. And some Australians who are really into that can pinpoint and say, I want this done, this done, and that's how they like it.
That's how
instead of just
whatever. So. And even one thing I've noticed is that in a coffee, the coffee flavor is the most overpowering flavor you get when you have a cup of coffee. It's not the sugar, it's not the caramel or whatever there is. And I don't think Australians have a lot of caramel and sweet stuff in their coffee, isn't it?
That's correct. Yeah, we sort of definitely there are people who do that, but we tend to stay predominantly just with the nice. If they're just having an espresso, a double espresso, just with the coffee, or they're mixing with milk. We don't want to put too much in there. It takes the flavor out of it, and it can make it really sweet. And that's
and
like if you want something sweet, go for like a nice chocolate, nice coffee. But if you're going for like a coffee flavor, like
go for the coffee.
Go for the coffee.
Go for the coffee. So and with the food, you find that you guys update your menu from time to time, like the seasons and fresh produce, especially. Because one thing I've noticed, and I've had food here quite often, and is that the produce when you taste it is really fresh. Let me the avocados or even the small little radish if there is on the side, it is just really fresh. The second you put it in your mouth, it tastes that.
Absolutely.
And is there a lot of effort and thought put into where you get your produce?
Correct. So the Axil themselves, again, just speaking from the company, they have a really, really close relationship with farmers and their suppliers. Who obviously we change our menu seasonally. So every 3 months we'll adapt it, get in contact with them and say, hey, what do you think would be best? What's best growing well at the moment? And they'll push out a different bunch of ingredients, and we'll grab that and say, okay, this could work with this could work. Hopefully people enjoy it. They keep coming back. So exactly.
It's a fabulous place, man. Anyways, thanks so much for your time, Jake.
No worries.
Really appreciate it.
Of course. No stress.
Thanks, man. We then headed to a suburban cafe called Parker's Café. With salmon, with some avocados, some tuca, some cherry tomatoes, and just really well presented. Really, you want to eat it. When you see it, you're like, I'm hungry. Let me get to that. That's something cafes around Melbourne have. They all have the unique ways of serving eggs, and which changes from time to time, which changes from season to season, depending on what the fresh produce is available at that time of the year. There's a lot of thought put into the menu, and people like that. People like to have variety in what they eat. And so let's dig in. Oh, did I mention? No plastic cutlery. Better for the environment. Take a runny egg, just as you like it. You can see fresh eggs. See the color of the yolk. That's really good. Really good. It is fabulous. It's just delicious. Just so many different flavors. There's olive oil, there's the tomatoes, the avocado, the salmon, fresh eggs, a really good bread. Just brilliant. So good. So good. Another point to note is that Starbucks, like any franchisee in the world, gets its beans, gets all its raw materials from a particular source. And that works very well because that gives them bargaining power. It reduces their cost. Saying that, there are other food outlets here in Australia like McDonald's, Hungry Jack's, which is Burger King, and KFC that do really well. And one thing that they have done is that they have assimilated with Australian culture really well. So Australians love their cafes. Place of joy. It's a place where you meet your friends, your family. It's a place where you chat, have a laugh, and it is a very integral and special part of Australian culture. Starbucks just copied what they did well in Asia and in America and did not try and blend in to Australian culture. They came in with a bang and did not grow organically. So they opened their first store in Sydney back in 2000, and then within 8 years they opened 87 different stores. For a sparsely populated country like Australia, that was a lot. And there was no intrigue as to, let me go check that out, let me try and see what they have, because it was too readily available and most people would have thought that, you know what, I'll go there someday. And eventually the word spread that the coffee was more American than Australian. But since then, Starbucks has made some really wise choices. They shut 2/3 of its stores and now operate in shopping centers, the city, tourist attractions, and suburbs with high immigrant population. And this is a brilliant strategy, and this is something we all can learn from, because think about a tourist who really likes Starbucks and they come to Australia, and let's say they're at the Sydney Harbour Bridge and they see the Starbucks doing so very well. It just adds to the brand value of Starbucks. And instead of trying to break into a market which is really hard, Starbucks has done very well to serve its core audience. And that's just a good lesson for life, isn't it? If something doesn't work, just analyze it and do something different. Lastly, a big shout out to Starbucks, Chadstone, Axil Coffee, and Parkdale Café for letting me shoot this video. And Jake, thank you so much for your time. I'm very grateful to you. I must also add that this is just my opinion, and do comment your views below. Thanks for your time. As always, I'm very grateful, and like, subscribe, all that jazz. See you in the next video.